Hello, my name's Tom Palmer and I am a children's author. The books that I've got coming out next are called Defenders, and they're about the history of the UK, and it's about the different sort of peoples that have lived in this country. Each of us who live in this country have got bits from all over the world in us, like different cultures and different peoples. There's Viking influence, there's Anglo-Saxons, Iron Age people, Romans, and a lot of us are made up of a mix of all those sorts of people. I'm really interested in that sort of thing, particularly because I don't really know where my family came from because I'm adopted. So I bought this kit, and this is a kit which tells you about your ancestry. It tells you what sort of peoples, like the Vikings, I might have descended from. Anyway, before I tell you a bit about that, I just want to show you what the book covers of my new series look like, and here they are. So those books that you've just seen, they're different stories set in the UK involving Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons and Iron Age people. And using this kit, I'm going to find out now which of those peoples I might have been descended from. So what I've done is, you get this kit and you open it up and you read the instructions, and then you put, this is a little tube, and you put a little sample in it of spit, but I'm not going to do that on the on screen because that's not very nice. So and you put it in here and you shake it up and mix it with a liquid like that, and then they can tell from this, because it's got your DNA in it, they can tell from this who I am descended from. I live in the north of England, so I might be a bit Viking, but the part of England that I live in was quite a Celtic area, so I could be a bit Celtic. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get this tube, I'm going to put it in this pouch thing, and this is quite exciting for me because I don't know the answers. I'm going to put it in this envelope. Well, it's not an envelope, it's a box. And I'm going to post this off to the people at Ancestry DNA, and they're going to tell me what I am made up on, and that for me is really exciting. And what's going to happen now is, it's going to take about 6 weeks, so rather than you sit there for 6 weeks waiting to find out, I'm going to stop the video now, and then when I get the results, I'm going to finish off this video, and live, so without me actually knowing, I'm going to look at it and see where I am descended from. And just to remind you that because I was adopted, I have absolutely no idea where my family are from and what sort of people they were. Anyway, thank you for watching so far, and I hope you stay for part 2. So I've just had an email through from the Ancestry DNA people with the results of my DNA test, and this is quite a big moment for me because, as I explained in the previous part of the video, I'm adopted and I don't know about my genetic past. I know that I was brought up by a lovely mum and a dad and stepdad in Leeds, and I know that I had a lovely childhood, but I don't know about my DNA. There's only one person in the world who I actually know, who I'm related to by DNA, and she's holding the camera there. So anyway, that's my daughter. Anyway, so I'm now going to look at the breakdown of my genes, of my DNA, and what I'd kind of like to be, because I'm from Leeds and I'm proud of being from Leeds, having written books about mighty Leeds United. I'd kind of like to have some sort of grounding in the city that I see as my home city, but also in these books, these are about like the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings and the Romans and people like that, sort of the history of the UK, and I'd kind of like to know where I come from within that. Am I part sort of Viking or something like that? And that would be interesting. Or if I was part Roman. My wife sort of said she thought I was a bit French, but there you go. Anyway, we'll see. So I've got to click on this, and then I'm going to look, and then we'll see. Are we ready? Right, so here it is. So there's a screen and it says, so if you can see that, that says I'm 46% Great Britain, 33% Scandinavian, so I am a third Viking. There we go. And 21% other regions. So I know that I'm 46% Great Britain, 33% Scandinavian, and 21% other regions. Now I get to press a button that tells me a bit more detail about it. But before I do, the Scandinavian thing, I've been to Scandinavia several times, Norway and Sweden, and this is about a Viking attack on an English village, where the Vikings are quite menacing and not very nice, which and I feel kind of guilty about that, because if I'm 1/3 Scandinavian or Viking, that's sort of I'll have to do another book about nice Vikings perhaps. Anyway, here goes. So I'm going to press the button now, view your genetic ancestry. So there's a big map now of the world. Oh, it's not come up properly. Oh, it says, oh fantastic, genetic communities English in Yorkshire and Pennines. And here we are, and I live in West Yorkshire now, in the Pennines, and I've always been very proud of my Yorkshireness, and also I like running in the Pennines, which is good. All right, so I've got a map of the UK. Is there anywhere else? Or is that just? So it's this. That's the United Kingdom, and that's the map of the Pennine area. So that's where I'm from, and that's where I live. So that's really good news. Right, so I've got it now. I've managed to work out how it works. This is a map of the 4 regions that apparently I'm genetically linked to. So you've got Spain, France, Germany, and then the Scandinavia, and Great Britain, particularly Yorkshire and the Pennines, which is good. But nowhere else in the world, which is a shame, because it would have been quite exciting to have some sort of a link to some far off place. For me, this is really good. I'm happy with this. I've found out that I'm about half of me is sort of Yorkshire and from the Pennines, and I was born and bred in Yorkshire, and I love Yorkshire. And interestingly, I've moved closer to the Pennines now, and one of my favourite things to do is running in the Pennine Hills, so that's good. I've also found out I'm a third Scandinavian, which is really exciting because I love it around there as well, and I'm interested in the Vikings, so I might have to read about them in a different way, because they're often portrayed as the axe-wielding maniacs. So perhaps I'm sort of related to to some of them, and then the rest of it is sort of Europe, like France and Germany. And like the Germany area, and that area was like where the Anglo-Saxons came from, who are also featured in this book. And the French is where the Normans came from, sort of in 1066. So I'm kind of a mixture of all the different peoples that came together, sort of certainly in the first sort of millennium and a half of since BC. So that's really interesting. I hope you found it interesting, and thank you very much for watching.